Good day, everyone. So today I am going to discuss to you the lesson 1.6. Before anything else, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Eliana May Bryan, and I am your teacher for today. So before we proceed or tackle our discussion, I would like to present to you the objectives. So students, you are expected to identify traditional media and new media and the relationships, determine the rules and functions of media in democratic society. So here I have an illustration and I want you to interpret it based on how you understand the picture. As you can see, it's an evolution of human, but it's not all about the human itself because along with the human, they also have their equipments and weapons that evolve too from the from the uh from the sharp weapon down to computer. So it's obviously an evolution. So our discussion all about is the evolution of media. So before, I know that most of you are familiar of the media, especially the new media. It's because we are too abundant of that, right? We have Facebook, we have gadgets, we have the latest technology today. But have you heard the traditional media? Well, I guess you don't. So that's what we're going to tackle today. So basically, what is media? So media, the term media, which is a plural of medium, refers to the communication channels through which we disseminate news, music, movies, education, promotional messages, and other data. It includes physical and online newspapers and magazines, television, radio, billboards, telephone, the internet, fax, and billboards. So basically, media is describes the various ways through which we communicate in society. So it's a communication itself, the media. So the evolution of media has four ages. We have the prehistoric age, the pre-industrial age, the electronic age, excuse me, the new information age. So first, we're going to tackle the prehistoric age. Let's define first what is prehistoric age. So prehistoric age is that people discovered fire, developed paper from plants, and and tool with stone, bronze, copper, and iron. As prehistoric men learned how to sharpen their tools and use them for hunting, they also acquired the knowledge on how to use these materials in carving stones. So basically, the sharpened tools is not just for hunting, but it also a way in 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 carving stones. So basically, prehistoric age is the age that paved the way for system of writing, which mark as the start of the historic period. So firstly, we have the papyrus in Egypt. So papyrus in Egypt is a material similar to thick paper that is used in ancient times as writing surface. It was made from the pith of the papyrus plant, Cyperus papyrus, a method sedge. So I know all of you are not familiar of this plant. So was the paper. So before, they used this paper to put their administrative documents, their letters, contracts, legal texts, illustrated narratives, and religious texts. So, um, papyrus in papyrus in Egypt were important during the prehistoric era because they regulated the information and communication of the Egyptians from one another. So through papyrus, it's a way for them to communicate during that time. So next, we have the cave paintings, also known as parietal art. So cave paintings are painted drawings on cave walls or ceilings, mainly of prehistoric origin, dated to some 40,000 years ago in Eurasia. So as we can recall to the definition of the prehistoric, wherein there are sharp tools. It's not only for meant for hunting, but it's also for use in cave painting. So people back then used sharp weapon to carve objects. People based on their nakita nila ang ilang i-carve is based sa nature, sa animals, and then mo na maka-form sa laging ana. So it's a way of writing sa ilaha ang cave paintings. So now we have the codex. So codex is a book constructed of a similar materials with handwritten contents. So earliest type of manuscript in the um in the mo- in the form of a modern book, a collection of written pages stitched together along one side. So the difference of codex from the katong mga roll og scroll nga mga types of manuscript is that it can be opened at once to any point in the text. It could contain long text. So unlike sa katabi ang mga libro nga mga kuan, ang kala siya is kaya intended na siya sa kanang mga tag-asog context, and then mapaklip maswatan nimo siya both side kay imo mo siyang ma-open. So that's the codex. Second, we have the clay tablets in Mesopotamia. So clay tablets were used as writing medium, especially for writing in cuneiform. Its textbooks, forms of myths, fables, essays, hymns, proverbs, epic poetry, laws, plants, and animals. So when we say cuneiform, it's the system of writing. So as you can see in the picture, that's the cuneiform na naka-engrave sa clay. So ilan na siyang i-engrave dito sa clay, and then let the clay dry, and after makakuha na siya, maka-form na siya og mga ingani. Muna ni siya ang finished product ani niya. So diha nila isuwat ang ilang ang ilang mga textbook through the form of clay. So clay is like a system of writing that ang instrument niya nang gigamit para anha mo suwat. So next we have Dibao in China. It was a type of publication issued by central and local governments in Imperial China, often called as palace reports or imperial bulletins. So why is it called palace reports or imperial bulletins? So according according to my research, it is called a palace reports or imperial bulletin. It's because the content of the Dibao in China is usually the announcement and news, and were intended to be seen only by bureaucrats. So ang content ani niya kay all about the announcement and news sa ilahang kalihukan silang kuan dito government. So diha nila gisuwat ang ilang mga announcements diha. So the bow were important because they were used as media for regulation and circulation of government's officials' reports and announcements to masses. So through the bow, diha magtuyok-tuyok ang mga diha nila gipangsuot ang mga important announcements, mga ingana. So it is very significant jud kayo. So next we have the Acta Diurna. So daily Roman official notices carved of daily gazette. They were carved on stone or metal and presented in message boards in public places like the Forum of Rome. As you can see, as you can see in the illustration, there are a group of men who were like in a meeting. So when we say Forum of Rome, it's like the location of important religious, political, and social activities. And as you can see, the Acta Diurna, it is written on the text is written on a metal, metal or in a storm niya ilang gi-carve diha ang content sa ilahang kuan kaalihukan silang meeting anha nila gisuwat. So the original content included results of legal proceedings and outcomes of trials. So diha nila gina-engrave ang outcome of trials, ang ilang mga legal proceedings through Acta Diurna. Later, the content was expanded to public notices and announcements and other information. So before sa una accessible na siya diya sa kanang mga legal proceedings siya, and then karon ning kala siya kanang na expand na siya, then pwede na po siya sa mga public, no, na diha pwede na ta makakuan diha access of information sa birth, marriage, and death. So that's the Acta Diurna. So now we're going to proceed to the industrial age. So this is where people discover the use of power steam, develop machine tools, establish iron production, and the manufacturing of various products, including books, through the printing press. Basically, it is the ability to communicate across long distance. So from the word itself, industrial. So meaning ang economy na nila dila medyo ning increase na unlike sa prehistoric origin, bas niya maraming rise nagsugod ang communication ani nila is accessible na compare sa katong sa prehistoric period. So we have the newspaper in London Gazette. So one of the official journal of record of the British government, oldest surviving English newspaper. So London Gazette is continuously published newspaper in the UK. So until now, gipagawa sa naghapon na niya. So ang content sa newspaper is basically sa mga kalihukan sa government ang kasagaran ipang-publish ana niya. Mga all about sa governments, mga ilang mga panghitabo, So Gazette, the official government no journal wherein certain statutory notices are required to be published. So mao na no ang mga kalihukan sa government diha nila gi-published. So aside from the newspaper from the London Gazette, we also have early Philippines newspaper. So we have the La Esperanza, La Solidaridad, Ang Kalayaan, Diario de Manila, and Bulletin Official de Filipinas. So these are the earliest Philippine newspaper, but I think most of the prevalent and a very well-known newspaper is the La Solidaridad and the Ang Kalayaan. So I know all of you are very familiar of the La Solidaridad. It is the most popular newspaper in the history. Published in Spain in 1889, was actively used to campaign to reforms for the Philippines. So, 'di ba? Ala Solidaridad is that mo na ang nagpa-awaken sa mga Filipino to fight against the colonizer at the time. So La Solidaridad is urged the reforms in both religion and government in the Philippines. So it served as a voice of what became known as the propaganda movement. So it is the mouthpiece mo na ang nagpapukaw sa mga Pilipino to fight against the colonizer at that time, no? Mo na siya ang La Solidaridad. The second is Ang Kalayaan. It is the official newspaper of the KKK. Kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan anak ng bayan. So just like the La Solidaridad, the newspaper itself stood for the principle of liberty and supremacy. So both is may pinaglalaban. So mao na siya, these are the newspapers of the early sa Philippines at that time. So now we have the telephone. So telephone is not new to you, but this picture is very new to us, no? It's very new. So I haven't seen this kind of telephone, no? So a telephone is a system that converts acoustic vibrations to electrical signals in order to transmit sound, typically voices, over a distance using wire or radio. So the famous inventor of this telephone is the famous Alexander Graham Bell. So I know all of you are very familiar to this inventor. So telephone, I haven't seen this telephone actually. So telephone is continuously evolving from this katong katong nice string but dili na siya ingani og structure. Na katong wireless. Yan. But I haven't used telephone yet personally. I haven't used that one. So telephone, no? What's the use of telephone? So telephone, it is invention provided an important device for facilitating human communication through the use of the telephone. So people could have easily make conversations at a distance. So unlike before nga papel lang sa ilang form of writing, ilang pamaagi sa pagsuwat, pamaagi sa ng communication, ug pamaagi sa pag-disseminate information. Pag-abot sa industrial age, ning-evolve na siya. We have telephone already, maka-communicate naka through distance. No? So, we also have telegraph. So, telegraph was invented by USA Samuel Morse. So, telegraph is a system of transmitting information or messages from a distance along a wire, especially when creating signals by making and breaking an electrical connection. So just like the telephone, telegraph is also used for revolutionized long distance communication. No? Maka-communicate na bisag layo-layo ka. With the telegraph, of course, and telephone. So we also have the printing press. So the printing press was invented in the Holy Roman Empire by the German Johannes Gutenberg around 1440. So printing press was a huge contribution in the dissemination of media rather. Why? Because printing press is called the mass distribution of information at that time. Kaya imagine ang printing press is able to produce, according to my research, printing press is able to produce 3,600 pages per workday. Imagine, pila ka pages ang ilang mabuhat. Pila ka bukod sa kalibro. So, it was like a mass dissemination of information at that time. So, ang printing press is a device that allows for the mass production of uniform printed matter, mainly text in the form of books, pamphlets, and newspapers. So, books before sa printing press is very cheap and inexpensive. Hindi siya expensive. It is very cheap and of course accessible siya. So, through printing press, paspas ang dissemination sa information, no? Paspas siya kay daghan masyad mahimo. Daghan siya books nga ma-produce. Pila gud ka pages sa ka day, di ba? So we also have the motion picture. So a film, also called a movie motion picture, theatrical film, or photocopy, is a series of still images which when shown on the screen. So motion picture is a work of visual art used to stimulate experiences that communicate ideas, stories, perceptions, feelings, beauty, or the atmosphere through the use of moving objects. So moving images. So mo ni siya ang motion picture. So down from the electronic age. So electronic age is the invention of the transistor ushered in the electronic age. People harnessed the power of transistor radio, electronic circuits, and the early computers. So punch card. So from the previous discussion punch card was discussed, no? Not nahisgutan na ni siya was tackled. So punch card is also known as Hollerith cards and IBM cards. Hollerith is the owner and the inventor of the punch card. So a card perforated according to a code for controlling the operation of a machine used in voting machines and formally in programming and entering data into computers. So mo gyapon no, with the help of punch card we were able to produce gyapon information, of course. Next, we have the typewriter. So typewriter is an electric or manual machine with keys for producing print-like characters one at a time on paper inserted around a ruler. So I used to see typewriter, but I haven't tried to use this one. I saw this on my previous school pag junior high, but I wasn't able to use it. I don't know if it's already guba na siya or maybe because it was just displayed lang gid ba. But I haven't seen it, but naabdan din ako siyang nga ani. It was quite amusing. So typewriter, with a typewriter, it was much easier to spread news to more people faster and less expensive. So with a typewriter, paspas ang dissemination sa information and of course, barato na pagid siya. So typewriter is very significant sa government, sa tao, ug sa business. This was very important para nila. Of course, sa karon, no? So, ang karon wala naman tay wala naman kini siya ginagamit gid kay we have ano na naman digital naman na naman tay kanang print. So, we have also the television. So, television is a machine with a screen, of course. So, it broadcasts signals and turn them into pictures and sound. So, television is also considered as a mass media communication because television is intended to reach a mass of audience. So, with if ang usa ka tawo naalay TV, so ang dissemination sa information dali ra kaayo, no? Makakonect siya sa thousands nga Filipinos sa atong country if only na kay television, of course. So ang television is just the importance of television as a medium for education and interpersonal communication. However, it brings entertainment, of course, kaya may mga movies. But also, sa television maka-acquire tag mga information, mga factual information sa mga balita, 'di ba? News, scattered ang news. Daghan tag mga makuha ang information diha if nabay bagyo, nabay unsa na nahitabo ang lugar, nabay massacre ana. So television gives us information as well and very factual, no? So in the Philippines, the word television first appeared in the magazine Scientific American. So James Lindenberg, the father of Philippine television. Now we have the LCD projector. So LCD projector is a type of video projector for displaying video, images, or computer data on a screen or other flat surface. So it is a modern equivalent of the slide projector or overhead projector. So actually, I haven't seen this LCD projector today, but ako nang nakitaan is ang pinaka ni latest gid siya nga dili na siya ing ana very handy na siya. Masud na siya nimo backpack. Kay di ba na siya nimo masud, it's because dako na kay siya size, no? And then kato ako na ato ron atong latest ron katong accessible siya, and then kuan pag siya kana ready to carry siya. So LCD projector will help you ba nga mas mo wider ang imuhang kuan ang imuhang so with the use of LCD projector you were able to see mas mo dako ang imong objects nga imong gi-present bitaw tungod ani niya mas makita siya. So now we have the mainframe computer. So mainframe is the high-level computer designed for the most intensive computational tasks. So mainframe is mainly used in the banking sector, corporate sector, and government agencies, as there is always a requirement of the secured system so that so that transactions can be done in a secure manner and data can be kept. So, muna siya. Kining mainframe computer is designed for computation, no? So, very dako kani siya, oy. Okay siya nga kuan sa computer. So we have the transistor radio. So transistor radios are small portable radio receivers that uses transistor-based circuitry. So kini siya maghahatag po siya information nato. It's because with the use of that, we were able also to receive information ba, no? And it's um ready to carry kay gamay ra siya, small ra siya. So their packet size sparked a change in popular music listening habits, allowing people to listen to music anywhere they want, no? So, asa ka pa dong, if naka-transistor radio, you were able to have music, no? Carrier siya ba? Gaan ra siya, di siya dagko, di siya bugat, very handy. So now, we're down to the last age of evolution of media. We have the information age. So, why is it called information age? So, information age because as a time diri siya nga time nga large amounts of information are widely available to many people. That's why it is called information age. Kay diri na nga time dili unlike na sa mga previous sila kuan, mas diri widely accessible na gid siya, no? Tanan na lagid makahibaw na gyud. Tanan. So we have the portable computers, we have the laptops, netbooks, and tablets. So computer that is designed to be moved from one place to another and includes a display and keyboard. So computers was discussed from the previous lesson. So naapoy ka ng fifth generation ang computer and man ang pinaka fifth man ang pinaka latest karon. So, unlike before nga mga computers, ang kini siyang portable computers or the fifth generation computers is very handy na siya. You can bring it anywhere you want as long as there's signal and there's a connection. Okay ra kayo siya, 'di ba? And computers were widely used, especially karon nga online classes. It's a very um uh, important one. So without computer, I don't know people. I don't know people how to handle this pandemic if wala siya because it's very important man god, 'di ba? Pwede ta maka with the use of course the device, we were able to communicate as well, especially in the aspect of education nga limited of face to face, so it's very important nga naa gid ta ani unta. So we have also the microblogs. So clarification if you are wondering what is microblogs and blogging. So microblogs is like when we say microblogs from the word itself, micro means gamay. When we say blogging, mo ni siya dili nga you can post anything you want. Maybe it be in a news or in an article or whatever nga mga long mga makita siya mga characters kadaghan. Sa blogging is dili limited ang imong words nga imong i-post. Unlike sa microblogs, micro gamay ra siya. Limited ra gid siya, no? So the term microbiology, microblogging originated from the early blogs and websites. So these small sites concentrated on posting short and quick articles, pictures, videos, etc. to their own blogs. So small sites, short and quick articles. So di gid siya as in tinag-as gyud unlike sa blogging nga maka-post ka whatever you want kasi unsa pa nimo kataas. Even article maka-post ka didto. Pero kini dili. So an example of that according sa illustration is a Twitter, 'di ba? I know most of you have a Twitter account. So, ang Twitter account, it is only limited into 140 characters. So, digid ka siya ingon. Taas. So, we also have Tumblr. So, Tumblr no, natin yung mga Twitter. We also have Twitter. So, what are the microblogging sites pa di? We have also Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, no? Mo na siya ang mga microblogging site. So, di ba, as you can see in TikTok, dili ta kapusog tag-as kaayo, no? It is limited unlike sa blogging. But it's also a way of disseminating information, of course, and communication because we can communicate through the use of this, right? So, now we have the web browser. So, the beginning of the web as a publicly available service on the internet arrived on August 6, 1991 when Berners-Lee published the first ever website, so itong WW or the World Wide Web. So web browsers, the basic functionality of the browser, it's what's connects you with everything on the web. You are allowed to shop online, watch videos, upload pictures, play games, and etc. with the use of browsers, of course. So naatay mga laing-laing nga mga web browsers, no? We have the Chrome, the Safari, the Mozilla, the Opera Mini, and of course the Internet Explorer. So we have now the wearable technology. It is a category of the technology devices that can be worn by a consumer and often include tracking information related to health and fitness. So sa una pag yun nga wag gid nga ani karon accessible lagi siya no ang information pwede na nimo masuot even ang as you can see na illustration of smartwatch watches. So imagine we can communicate not through the use of watch, though it is expensive, but it's also kanang high-tech na gid kayo ba no? Pwede ta makatawag with the use of um, smartwatches. Actually ang mga PNP ron nagkuan sila katapos ng camera device ilahang kuan ilang isuot nga kanang camera device ilahang lawas ba ilang ibutang para makapture kung unsay mga panghitabo. Though it is very kanang kuan gid siya na expensive, but it's okay because it's really reliable kaayo ba and authentic gid siya. So we have the video. So video or the YouTube is a sharing internet venture. So YouTube sa unay ani pa siya og now. So guys, ang YouTube po it's also a way of communicating and also disseminating of information because sa YouTube makakita tag laing-laing mga tutorials, 'di ba? Na makakita tag if maglibog ta sa tong discussion o sa tong gibasa nga article or pwede pud ta mag-browse pod sa video sa YouTube. So mao pa ni siya ang YouTube sa una atong wala pa ni siya ma-upgrade. So aside from the communication and of course the information we receive from the YouTube, it's also a source of income. Actually during this pandemic no daghan na kay mga vlogger ang nakakita og kwarta dire. No, if you have a lot of subscribers, pwede nimo siya as a source of income. Of course, if you have the qualities of becoming a vlogger, then why not try YouTube, 'di ba? So, we have also social networks, so a dedicated website or other applications that enable users to communicate with each other by posting informations, comments, images, newspapers, and etc. So I know most of you have social networks. As a matter of fact, ang Facebook ay pinaka number one social networking site nga ginagamit sa mga taon. Of course, kay it's very accessible gid kaayo bisag wa kay load baka Facebook ka. Pero di lang kitag picture, but of course, makakuha lang yapon ka no. So as a katuganing sa last Sunday sa NSTP naghisgot ta ato og when was at what age do you use Facebook? So many have answered it around 10 to 12 years old. So that was before. How much more they, 'di ba? I suppose there are kids na who already have Facebook at the age of 7, 8, ranging from that age na naging mga Facebook na ni mga TikTok, no? Ang mga bata karon very exposed sa social networks. So of course kita nga dagko, of course, we have to guide them as well. So we have the cell phone and smartphone. So sa una cellphone nang current smartphone na. So smartphones in the information age or cellular phone technology has increased dramatically over the last 25 or so years. So and cell phones which we are one time bulky in size and limited to voice communications. So sa una ang cellphone is gagmay ra and then ang iyang limited ra siya sa voice communications pero karon ni evolve na og nahimo nag smartphones kung saan pocket size na siya then touch screen technology na. No? So, I think that ends the discussion for the industrial age. So, before I end this presentation, I would like you also to leave this quote. Information is only as reliable as the people who are receiving it. If readers do not change or improve their ability to seek out and identify reliable information sources, the information environment will not improve. So we guys now we class are now in the 21st century. So kita nga abundant ta sa mga media, abundant ta sa mga technology nga nato karon, of course it is our responsibility to use media in a in a in a manner nga kanang dili ta makasakit og lain, no, special in receiving information, especially karon gyud no nga ang ting election. So ang media is very init jud kaayo ani at the time, daghan kayo mag-post og mga ipang stand nila nga mga mga candidate. Of course kita nga as a media user, of course we should be critical, no? We should not like if you receive information about this certain candidate, we just don't like base lang ana ba, tod lang ana mo na makuha na itong pagtanaw. Of course it is our job to seek out and identify reliable information sources, not because kay mora ni siya mo lang sa imong tuuhan. You have the ability to explore, it's you, imo na ng option, no? So mo to, that's the ages of the um evolution of media. So I hope guys that you have learned something, and that ends my discussion. Thank you.